"What is that boy doing here, Amma? This is an office, not a daycare." Eliza Thompson's voice cracked like a whip, silencing the 25 people in the meeting room. Amma Mensah held Kwame tightly in her arms. The 6-year-old boy, frail and wheezing from an asthma attack, had a pale face from a sleepless night in the hospital. "I'm sorry, Ms. Eliza." Amma kept her voice as calm as she could, though her hands trembled slightly. "The babysitter canceled at the last minute. But today is the presentation for the Acheum project. I've been the lead preparer for the past 4 months." Eliza strode into the center of the room, her high heels clicking sharply against the tiled floor. At 44, Eliza was the only foreign executive at McCullough Consulting, someone who had never faced adversity, and certainly never understood the hardship of being a single black mother. Company policy is very clear. No exceptions. You are fired. Effective immediately. Kwame's labored breathing was drowned out by the chilling silence in the boardroom. Colleagues who used to greet Amma with smiles every morning now stared down at the table. Nee, the man she once helped avoid a financial mistake worth hundreds of thousands of cedis, was now just scrolling on his phone. "This is why women like you don't belong in high-level environments. Too many attachments. Too much emotion," Eliza said, smiling with satisfaction. Amma set Kwame down on a chair and pulled an inhaler from her bag. Her hands didn't shake from fear, but from anger. "Steady now, sweetheart," she whispered. "Deep breath, in and out." Some eyes were sympathetic. Some were indifferent. But not one person stood up for her. Security was called. Eliza looked smugly at her watch, waiting for the moment Amma would walk out, like a bloodless execution. But Amma didn't break. She stood tall and picked up Kwame. In that moment, her gaze shifted from sorrow to steel. "Sweetheart, do you know why people treat us badly?" she asked, loud enough for the whole room to hear. Kwame nestled into his mother's neck and softly said, "Because they don't like me?" Amma stared straight at Eliza, unblinking. "No, because they think I won't fight back." Then, turning to face the entire room, she spoke each word clearly. But they were wrong. The elevator doors closed. In that moment, Amma didn't just leave the company. She left behind the role of a victim. A flash lit up in her eyes, not of hope, but of strategy. "My son," she whispered as she stepped out of McCullough Tower, "I'll show them what happens when they underestimate a smart Ghanaian woman." 2 hours after leaving the company, Amma sat quietly in the small rented room in Nima, where cracked walls and the noisy sounds of the street were normal. Kwame had fallen asleep on the old sofa, his arm wrapped around his only teddy bear, a gift from a charity shop. In front of her was an old laptop, its edges peeling, the cursor blinking, waiting. Amma reopened her LinkedIn, and like a slap in the face, the video of her dismissal was already there. Eliza had posted it with the caption, "Effective leadership means knowing when to make tough decisions. #professionalism, #strong leadership." 423 likes. Dozens of praise-filled comments. Not a single person questioned the child gasping for breath in the video. Not a single mention of Amma's name. She read each comment, wrote down each name, position, company. She wasn't angry, just silently took note. "I'm okay." Kwame mumbled in his sleep. Amma smiled and placed her hand on the keyboard. In her mind, her mother's words echoed, something she had said when Amma was 16, when they had nearly been evicted after losing their jobs. "The rich always leave a trail, and you just have to learn how to follow it." That night, Amma created a new folder on her computer, Eliza Campaign. She began tracing Eliza through social media. A personal Instagram filled with lavish parties in Cape Town, Paris. And mocking remarks about the poor. Everyone has the same 24 hours. An old article revealing Eliza got her position thanks to her father, a company shareholder, not her merit. She checked company records and discovered Eliza had never worked anywhere else besides McCullough Consulting. The next morning, Amma received an email. Kwame's health insurance had been cancelled the very day she was fired. A new inhaler cost 1,200 cedis. Amma had only 1,500 in her account. Rent was due in 5 days. She didn't cry. Instead, she picked up her phone and dialed a familiar number she hadn't used in a long time. Kojo. It's Amma. I need your help. Kojo Boteng, a former MBA classmate of Amma's, now a private investigator specializing in corporate cases. Quiet, sharp, and most importantly, he owed her a big favor. Amma. You're calling at 3 a.m. What's going on? Amma told him everything. Every detail. Every humiliation. Every stare. After a long silence, Kojo exhaled. Eliza. Sounds like she's building an empire on the suffering of others. Send me everything you have. By the time we're done, she'll wish she never knew your name. Amma smiled. Her first smile in days. Not because she was happy, but because she had just confirmed she was not alone. One day after the early morning phone call, Amma received Kojo's first email. Subject: Guess how many secrets Eliza is still hiding? Inside was a list of 14 former employees Eliza had fired over the past 3 years. Of them, 11 were women, 9 were people of color, and at least 6 were single mothers. The common thread: all were dismissed for poor cultural fit, a vague phrase used to erase accountability. Amma read it without blinking. Immediately, she made a plan to contact each one. Not everyone responded, but the first to call back was Ruth Nyarko, a 35-year-old woman who had worked in the legal department. Amma! Ruth's voice crackled through the phone. I've been waiting for this call for 2 years. Ruth explained. She once took 3 days off to care for her sick mother and was fired the following week for unprofessional behavior. She had filed a lawsuit, but the company offered her a confidentiality agreement with a small settlement. No one knew. No one cared. I still have all the emails, Ruth said. I always believed one day the truth would need to come to light. Next came Abina Sarpong, former head of HR. Amma met her at a small cafe near the Kainchi bus station. Abina walked in, carrying a thick folder. Eliza! She sneered. I knew this day would come sooner or later. She handed Amma printed messages, meeting notes, and memos, all proving that Eliza had set up female employees to create legally justified firings. Amma froze as she read the messages. She just took a sick day? Perfect. Add her to the risk list immediately. That night, in her rented room, Amma created a WhatsApp group named Justice Project Ghana. First member, Ruth. Second member, Abina. And more would follow, those who had once stayed silent, now ready to speak out. Kwame slept soundly in the corner of the room. Amma placed her hand on the newly printed file, her eyes gleaming with a blade-sharp look. Kojo texted, I just accessed Eliza's private storage. You won't believe what I found. A folder of images. Candid photos of employees, along with cruel comments about their appearance, race, lifestyle. A group chat between Eliza and other female executives titled, People to Remove ASAP. Amma closed her eyes and took a deep breath. She thinks she's untouchable, she muttered. But this is Ghana, and I'm the last person she should have underestimated. 3 weeks after Amma was fired, Eliza Thompson posted another video on LinkedIn. This time, it showed her firing another employee for lack of team spirit. In the video, a young white woman tried to explain that her mother had just passed away. Eliza cut her off mid-sentence and concluded with, Personal emotions have no place in this company. Amma was sitting with Kojo when she saw the video. His eyes widened. That's Naomi Asare, daughter of Senator Asare, who's running for governor of the Volta region. Amma paused for a moment. Then, she smiled slightly. Eliza just opened her own coffin. The next day, Naomi called Amma. Are you Amma Mensa? Naomi's voice trembled, but was firm. I just learned about your group. I have information you need, and I have the power to get it on air. They met at a discreet cafe in OSU. Naomi brought a laptop, opening a string of emails, internal memos, evidence that Eliza not only discriminated, but also embezzled from the employee training fund. You're not just a victim, Amma, Naomi said, her voice choked with emotion. You're a trailblazer. 2 days later, the show Africa Uncovered aired a 45-minute special episode. Power and Prejudice, Unmasking Eliza Thompson. It opened with the video of Amma's firing, a mother holding her sick child while being publicly humiliated. Next came a series of Eliza's covert photos of employees with cruel captions. No one wants to hear opinions from someone like this. The Blacklist group chat was revealed, linking to 5 other major companies in the city. Finally, proof that Eliza had embezzled over 700,000 cedis from the training budget. The media exploded. Hashtags like hashtag #AmmaMensaJustice and hashtag #DownWithEliza spread across social media. When the show ended, Eliza was in a meeting with major clients when her assistant burst in, pale as a sheet. Ma'am, you need to see this immediately. The screen lit up with her own image, broadcast on national television, as a symbol of cruelty and deceit. 10 minutes later, Eliza's phone rang non-stop. Her father called, yelling that she had brought shame to the family. The company's lawyer reported, there were 17 lawsuits from former employees, and prosecutors were launching an investigation. The board of directors sent an email, we request your immediate resignation to protect the company's reputation. An hour later, Eliza Thompson was escorted out of Makola Tower by security, under the watchful eyes of reporters, cameras, and the entire city. Amma didn't celebrate. She simply sat quietly in her rented room, watching Kwame draw a picture. What are you drawing? She asked. Kwame smiled. A mom with superpowers. Amma nodded. I just used mine. 4 days after the explosive broadcast, what was once Eliza Thompson's mighty reputation had crumbled to dust. But for Amma Mensa, the work wasn't over yet. Kojo sent a message. We just found the final piece needed to bring it all down. It was an encrypted confidential file, containing recordings of Eliza's internal meetings, where she and senior executives plotted to eliminate employees they deemed too sensitive to responsibility. In the recording, Eliza chuckled and said, Amma Mensa thinks she's smart, but we'll make sure no company in this city ever hires her again. Amma froze. It wasn't just about firing me. She wanted to bury me completely. At the same time, Naomi Asare reached out to the national broadcaster GTV. They agreed to air a special feature titled, A New Generation That Won't Bow, the story of Amma Mensa and a silent rebellion. In the program, Amma sat in front of the camera and recounted the entire journey. From the moment of public humiliation with her sick child, to her decision to fight back with intelligence, not rage. Accompanying the interview were exclusive videos. Eliza discussing applying pressure so employees resign on their own. Images of shared blacklists between companies. Detailed financial statements showing she used the training budget for private parties in Dubai. The next morning, the Makola Tower, headquarters of the company Eliza once led, was sealed by investigators. Headlines exploded across the press. Macola Consulting faces 15 lawsuits over discrimination and corruption. A reporter asked Amma outside the investigation office, "What do you think now that the person who ruined your career is being pursued by justice?" Amma simply smiled. "I didn't destroy her. She did that herself. I just shone a light on the darkness she thought no one would see." That evening, the Justice Project Ghana held its first gathering. 12 women, once crushed by Eliza and the system, sat around a modest meal in a small apartment. Ruth raised her glass of water. "We're no longer victims. We're living proof of one truth. Intelligence and solidarity can topple any oppressor." Amma looked at the women around the table. Each one, every healed scar. And she thought to herself, justice isn't about revenge. Justice is when those once dismissed become voices that can no longer be ignored. 3 months later, the Accra Voice ran a front-page headline. Amma Mensah, the woman who toppled a toxic empire. A portrait of Amma in a light blue suit stood proudly in front of a new building, the headquarters of UnityWorks Ghana, the startup she had just been appointed CEO of. Not through favors, not out of pity, but through her talent, resilience, and the courage to rise above pain. Senator Asare's personal lawyer called Amma. Parliament has passed a new law protecting the rights of women and working parents, and we've decided to name it the Amma Mensah Act. Amma was silent for a moment. She remembered the moment she held Kwame in that boardroom, the sting of humiliation, now transformed into immense strength. "Thank you," she said, "not for the name, but for the people who will never have to go through what I did." Meanwhile, Eliza Thompson sat alone in a temporary apartment near the outskirts. Her accounts were frozen, her passport confiscated, her friends gone. The media now called her the face of toxicity, a title she would never shake. She picked up her phone, watching the old video, the one where she fired Amma. But now, the look in that woman's eyes was no longer fear. It was foresight. "I'll show them what happens when they underestimate a smart Ghanaian woman." Eliza threw the phone to the floor. At a seminar at the University of Ghana, Amma stood before over 300 students. She told her story, unpolished, unhidden, and she ended with a line that brought the entire auditorium to its feet in applause. "If someone tries to bury you in the mud, remember, flowers grow in mud too. But to bloom, they need light. And sometimes, you have to become that light yourself." If Amma's story touched your heart, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the next powerful tale. Every like is a hug of support, and every subscribe is a voice for truth and justice. Together, we can light the way for many more lives.